What's up, everybody? It's your favorite undeserving nerd's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Planet X Deathsaurus. A logistical thing I gotta get out of the way. This was sent to me as a gift by another person that shouldn't have. They asked not to be shouted out, but I gotta shout them out anyway. I'll just give their initials, CP. Thank you. I don't deserve it. To anyone else, I don't need any gifts. It's my privilege and pleasure to do what I do. For anybody that feels the need to give back, hit me up. There's other different ways to do that. But I certainly don't need you to spend your hard-earned money on something for me. I'd rather you spend your hard-earned money on something for you. But let's get into this guy. So he comes with accessories, mainly the sword and the wings. Not the whole wings, just the blue translucent pieces. It's a bit of a bear getting the blue translucent pieces into position, but as you can see, it's definitely doable, and he holds his sword just fine. Let's take a look at him in a little bit more detail. So here's the sword. Gray plastic here, all the Cybertronian kind of engravings there, and then nice sculpt work, and then we have gold finish for the handle. Looks quite nice. Now you also get his breast buddy, as I like to call it. I have a blister here, by the way. I was working on a diorama in Burma myself, so don't mind that. And this is fine. It pegs in using this and this and this. It'll probably come off a few times during the review, so you should probably be able to see it then. You just fold out the legs. They're a little tight. There we go. And then you gotta flip out this little unit here. What's up with that? And then you pretty much just have this little jaw. Does that open a little bit, I feel like? I felt like it did, but maybe I'm wrong. You have a swivel here for the knee. Same for the rear legs, and then the tail wiggle waggles, and then you can have these up as well. Look, it's fine. You kind of have to include it because it's a thing, but you know, E for effort kind of thing. It doesn't make or break the figure. They included it, so it's there. It is relatively seamless when you put it back away, so that's a nice thing. You know, it's one of those things. Like, people would complain if it wasn't there, but it is there, and it's not great, but it does hide well. And then he comes with all of his wings, and they fit in between the gray plastic pieces that we'll look at when we look at the bod, with tabs that either go in the top or the bottom. Like, these are on the bottom, those are on the top, and then this one has one on the bottom as well. And then these two sit over top of the two pointy bits that are on the wings. So they're all blue translucent, they're all sculpted well, and that's about all there is to say. Now, with the three different sizes, you could take all three and connect these two with the tab into the slot there. And then this piece, tab in here and here to here and here to here and here to here. It's a lot, but you should be able to figure it out quite easily to make his shield. That can then use this peg to this hole here and peg into the side of his arm. But it's a tight fit. I mean, I know that's a look for him. I'm just not sure if I would do this over the winged look. Like, the winged look just looks better to me, but it's fine. Once the wings are in position, you're pretty limited on the movement of them. They're kind of meant to be stuck in this way. So you can't get a whole lot of movement out of them, but they do look impressive. All right, so let's look at the figure, and let's start with the wings. So there's a lot of room for movement back here. You have these two pieces that can come unplugged, and then you can manipulate the wings out a little bit. Obviously, it starts to make the whole thing come out, but that's just bad timing on my part. But if you needed it for a pose or whatever, you could manipulate those. You also have a ratcheted hinge. Where's it at? Here, for up and down. You have a swivel hinge here, a ratcheted hinge here, and then, of course, all of these open up to allow for the blue pieces to go in, you know, or not, depending on your kind of sensibilities. Let me clean them back up, and we'll start with the front. All right, now that he's all back together, head is on a ball peg. You get up to there, down to there, swivel, confused doll look, etc. The blue is a metallic flecked plastic. The gold is painted. The red is metallic flecked paint. Silver is painted. Sculpt is wonderful. No issues. So these pieces get out of the way for a little bit more shoulder movement. We have a double ratcheted hinge here that also swivels like a universal here. So you can get the arm all the way around and out to the side 90 degrees. No issue whatsoever. Using it, you can also get a little bit of a butterfly joint. So all of that works well. Gold fleck paint there, silver paint there, red fleck metallic, I'm guessing. Oh, no, that's paint. Looks good. Bicep swivel. Elbows on a single hinge that is ratcheted and gets you a little shy of 90 degrees. So that's a little limiting, but it hasn't bothered me yet. This is some die cast pieces up in here, it feels like, and then we have red metallic, gold metallic. It's really decoed quite well. The feet, you can see the gold metallic as well, so no issues there. The hands, the wrists are on a hinge that swivel, what is that? Swivel back and forth, and then they also swivel around. The thumb is on a ball peg at the base knuckle, and then the individual fingers are all individually articulated, and then have one pinned hinge at the base knuckle, and then a second knuckle at the end, which I think is enough, honestly. It's not every knuckle, but I think it's enough. Same for the other side. Now, deco for this. We've talked about this piece already a good bit, so we can go ahead and skip that, but the rest of it is pretty much plain. Waist swivel, no issues there. Hip skirts, get up and out of the way. For universal hips, that soft ratcheted out to the side, which isn't my favorite, but it works just fine. Forward and back, it doesn't hold its own weight very well. But I don't think it necessarily needs to. It's not like you're going to have them standing like this. You're going to be using it. I think it'll be enough tension to get it done. Silver paint on the thigh. So that's pretty much full Van Damme, full Monty for those keeping track. All right. Thigh swivel, a little tight, but works just fine. Knees on a soft ratchet gets you 90 degrees. And then the lower legs decoed out. So we have the two types of plastic here, which is a nice breakup. Gold paint, red paint, blue paint, silver paint. Looks tremendous. Red gets a little bit outside of the lines on a couple places, but individual results will vary there. Ankles are a little limited, but they do function. So there's no real ankle joint. You just use the front of the foot for a toe tilt down, nothing really up, and then the rocker comes out there. So it will get the job done. It's just kind of a cheat, but I think ultimately that it works just fine. And then there he is from the back. Size comparisons, we have an awful lot to talk about. So let's go ahead. I will say that the feel of this figure is tremendous. It reminds me, just in the way it feels, of Fans Toys Dracula or their Weird Wolf, just in terms of like that, the plastic quality, the metal, etc. Like, it does have a very good feel. It's probably the best feeling Planet X figure I've ever seen or experienced. Size comparison wise, there he is with some MMC offerings. Now, this might be the saving grace. Let's put Megatron in as well. This might be the saving grace for MMC here. This is not the same scale. I was looking at some pictures online to try to find a picture of any of these characters or any other toys that I have that are side-by-side Deathsaurus in the IDW, and I found this image of Tarn. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. They should be about the same size. And as you can see, they certainly are not. So this won't really fit with your MMC stuff. And that's a good thing for MMC because this thing is better than a lot of MMC products. Which then begs the question, is this even meant to be IDW or is it meant to be Chug? So I have this side-by-side comparison, and it's pretty close. Not exact, but pretty close. So I do believe this is meant to be going for this IDW aesthetic. However, it is a different scale than what we're used to. And I'm not sure if this isn't a masterpiece scale. Which brings us to this. He's about the same size as Galvatron. Now, I'm not sure if that's accurate, that's how big he should be, or if he shouldn't be bigger. I'm not exactly sure. But he does look and feel closer to a masterpiece than he does to a Chug. I'm not that familiar with the Japanese continuation of G1. I've seen some of it, but I think he was supposed to be the same size as Star Saber. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but he's definitely shorter than Star Saber, so like, I'm just not sure where this guy fits. And I say that admittedly not being an expert. So if you have the answer, please feel free to leave it in the comments, but I don't know. And there it is with G Creations Prime, and I feel like that looks the best of the size comparisons we've looked at. Obviously the proportions are a bit different, but I still feel like it looks the best. All right, so let's get him transformed. Untab the wings from the neck like we showed when we were talking about the wings at first. And then you can also untab these shoulder pieces. They have a tendency to come undone as you're going to manipulate them around anyway. And at that point, you can tab the shoulder pieces, and it's just a matter of getting all this stuff out of your way so you can work into the side. We'll just take that off too. On both sides. Now, you can also untab this back piece, take the head, flip that down, and inside of this cavity, connect the back piece back up, and then flip the bird head up, which will tab into the top. On the lower legs, open the back flap, which will allow you to rotate out the inner piece of the legs. Then take the tail, which is hidden inside the inner piece, out and spin it 180, out, spin it 180. In order to collapse it, you're gonna need to free up this piece here on the crotch. Maneuver this piece Combiner Wars style down on both sides, and then line up your tail, which is a series of pegs and tabs, and we'll get this all lined up. At which point you're left with this. The two knee pieces will tab in, so make sure they're secured. And then you want to close this flap first, and then this flap over top because it has the notch that will go around that piece. Now let's get rid of these hands. Open this flap up here, spin the whole leg around, and close back up on both sides. So flap open, bird leg down, hand inside. A little hard to see with the camera, but you get the picture. Close up. As a heads up, might save you some grief, there's this panel inside. When you flip the hands in, you want to make sure that this rotates to the back. Spin this whole piece around, and then plug that into the side. And that's pretty much it. I'll clean them up, we'll take a look at them. So here he is, and let's talk about him. Ball pegs at each joint here for the neck. Utilizing them all, you can get the head a good bit down, a good bit up, side to side, no issue. And then the mouth does open and close. Blue metallic paint, gold metallic paint, and silver metallic paint appropriately. And don't worry, we'll put the wings in and show that as well. Just for the sake of reviewing, we're gonna go through it this way. The wing articulation, all intact, so no worries there. The arm, it's, what is that? Oh, it's a universal. Yep, so soft ratcheted around, and then you get a little bit of a hinge forward and back. This is that swirly plastic for the blue. It bothers some people. I actually kind of like it, but that's subjective, I suppose. I haven't noticed any weakness with it. I know some people have said that. I just haven't noticed it. Silver paint here. Bicep swivel, elbow, soft ratchet, gets you the full range. Fingers individually articulated on a base hinge, and you get all the way back to there and up to there. So that works. The waist swivel is now locked in place, and then the legs are the same as the arms. You have this double hinge ratchet system, all that works the same. The only thing that we need to kind of look at is this knee. This panel here, I don't think I showed this. Let me see if I can. This is extended in robot mode. This piece here, just fold it back around and then tuck it in. That'll get you the full range here of this knee all the way to there. And then you have the toes that are individually articulated from there to there, and then the heel spur is individually articulated as well. My tail is starting to come apart a bit, but the tail has movement here on ball pegs, but you pretty much just get up and down, and here at a hinge as well. So I think it works pretty well, honestly. I think they did quite a nice job. Size comparison wise, there it is with Prime, there it is with Tiger Tracks, and there it is with MP Grimlock. So as you can see, I mean, it's a big boy. And then there he is all winged up, and it is pretty impressive. It's a beautiful figure. Like there's no denying that. It's really quite well done. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negative, and honestly, there's only really one thing I want to point out, and that's the shield. They should have just included a separate shield, because the way that this thing all tabs together and then clips onto the arm, and it's just, first of all, the tolerance from it clipping onto the arm doesn't really work, and then the shield itself doesn't really look good. And that's honestly it. It would have been nice to have all that white plastic painted, but like, it doesn't bother me, honestly. Positives wise, there's plenty. It is without a doubt their best built figure. Ratchets, good materials, good weight and heft. The articulation is pretty much perfect. The feet are a little bit of a cheat, but they work, so who cares? Sculpt is phenomenal. Super strong presence, but wings are always gonna make a figure have a super strong presence. Cleans up well. The alt mode really works. There's playability to the alt mode. A lot of times those beast modes I feel like don't really work because the articulation isn't there for the legs and arms and such, but it is here. I think it's fairly priced, and I think it's decoed beautifully. There's paint everywhere, different plastics, different types of plastics. Like, I don't know, it's a really, really, really well executed figure. Without a doubt, Planet X's best. I'm just interested to see where this scale goes, because to me, it looks like a masterpiece styled IDW collection. Now, they have their own Star Saber coming, obviously, and I'm sure they'll look great together. And I don't really know the size in my head of the difference between Star Sabers and all that kind of stuff between G1 and IDW, so I'm guessing it'll all work, but I'm not sure it'll work with your MMC collection, and that is something to consider. So, hope that helps. Thanks again for this gift. I don't deserve it. The phrase "you shouldn't have" definitely applies, but thank you. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.